Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, and we are going to get ready for our fourth interactive read aloud. Today, we're going to be learning about Japanese tea ceremonies. So, remember, I want you to be listening for something interesting or a new word that you didn't know what it meant before, but after this, you do. Or you can always choose to answer that last question on the one slide before our glossary. So, let's get going. Tea is a very important drink in Japan. People in Japan have visited beautiful tea houses like this one for hundreds of years. Inside, there's a tea ceremony. A tea ceremony needs a host and guests. The host makes and serves the tea. Look at this picture. Who do you think is the host, and who do you think are the guests? If you said this woman holding the tray is the host, I think you would be right. If you took part in a tea ceremony back in the time of the ninjas, you'd probably wear a kimono. A kimono is a piece of traditional Japanese clothing similar to a long robe. It has wide sleeves and a belt across the middle. Tea ceremonies have many rules to follow. What rules might be part of a tea ceremony? Make a hypothesis. Let's see. Rule number 1. Before people enter the tea house, they must wash their hands. This keeps everyone in the tea house clean and free from germs. It's kind of like a rule that people have now, especially with the coronavirus, right? Rule number 2. Everyone takes off their shoes to keep the floor clean. The tea house has slippers for people to wear. I like that rule. I try to have everyone follow it in my house. Doesn't always go as planned. Rule number 3. The guests bow to their host. In Japan, people bow to show respect. Rule number 4. There are no tables or chairs in a tea house. Everyone sits on the floor to drink their tea. Rule number 5. Only the host makes and serves the tea. The guests don't touch anything until the host gives them their teacup. To prepare the tea, hosts move slowly, carefully, and without talking as they do each step. This is a ceremony. First, they heat up water over a fire and clean all their tea tools. While the water is warming up, the host will put 2 scoops of a green tea powder called matcha into a bowl. Matcha is made from tea leaves that have been ground into a powder. When the water is hot, the host uses a ladle to pour it into the bowl with the matcha powder. Using a whisk made out of bamboo, the host whisks the hot water and matcha powder together until they're completely mixed. Finally, the tea is ready. The host pours the tea into teacups for each guest. Guests always compliment their host, telling them that the tea is delicious. In a Japanese tea ceremony, the host needs the guests and the guests need the host. But to have a tea ceremony, the host and guests need to help the other people who aren't even there. Look at these tools and ingredients needed for a tea ceremony. Who do you think made them? Farmers are needed to plant, water, and harvest the tea leaves for the matcha tea. More people are needed to dry the tea leaves, grind them into matcha powder, and then bring them to the tea house. Someone has to make the beautiful cups and teapots. Potters shape wet clay, bake it in a hot kiln until it's hard, and then paint their creations. The bamboo whisks and ladle also have to be made by hand. Bamboo is a kind of large, fast growing grass. People in Japan and around the world use bamboo to build and create many things. Farmers are needed to grow and harvest the bamboo. Then, a woodcrafters woodcrafters carve the bamboo into whisks, ladles, and other tools needed for a tea ceremony. At the end of a ceremony, guests are invited to explore the room. They look at the teacups, matcha tea, and bamboo tools used during the ceremony. It took many people, all working together, to make this tea ceremony happen. Who are all the people needed for a tea ceremony to take place? What role would you like to have? So that's one thing you can write about. You can write about the tea ceremony and maybe something you learned about the tea ceremony. Or you can say which person you would like to be that helped make the tea ceremony happen, like the farmer or the person grinding the tea leaves, or the wood craftsman making the ladles and whisks with the bamboo, or the person who made the pottery, the bowls. Or you can choose one of these words and you can write about that. We have tea house, kimono, slippers, bowing. Remember, these were some of the rules. Matcha powder, ladle, bamboo, farmer, and whisk. All right, so when we meet, make sure you have your writing paper and your cell map, and you have your whiteboard and your dry erase marker, and try to have the message that you would like to write up in your head so we can start writing right away. I will see you guys back soon.